Hey guys, and welcome to Together with Jenny. I'm Jeanette, and it is spring here in Australia. So it is the beginning part of spring, so we can start thinking and planning on what kind of plants we will like to see grow during summer. Whether or not we want plants to feed us or to help the insects and bees and birds, or whatever you want to use your garden for. This is a great time now to start preparing to plant these beautiful seeds to grow into little seedlings that you can plant into your garden. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing you need to do when growing seeds or propagating plants is what's your plan? Have you thought about your plan? Have you thought about how you want your garden to look? Do you have an idea of what kind of plants you want where and how they're going to be beneficial to your garden for your setup? Now, whether or not you want a self-sustainable garden, or do you want a garden that you can pretend that you're back in Bali with? These are the kind of things that you need to start planning your garden with. So there's no point in getting seeds and then planting seeds that are not going to grow during these months. There are some seeds that prefer warmer to hotter climates, as there are some seeds that coming out of the winter, these cooler climates, warm days, that kind of stuff. Even though some of these seeds are going to go into a greenhouse, we still need to make sure that these seeds are going to be happy with whatever climate that you're in. Now, I'm going to be taking my seeds up. As you can see, I'm not in my usual backyard or my block. I'm at my parents' house, so I need to be able to take them up to my block. And I know that my block up north of Perth is a zone 4, so I know that it's kind of going to be very similar to the Perth climate, where it can be very dry. So not only that, we also have been informed about the El Nino effect. So the El Nino effect is going to affect us in a way that it's going to be very dry, very humid, I suppose, and it's going to be very hot, basically. So if you think about it, how am I going to prepare for this summer where things are going to be hotter, drier? So there's going to be an increase in drought, and not only that, there's going to be a higher risk for bushfires, especially in the area that I'm in. Any country area is going to be a high risk for bushfires, first of all. And with the El Nino being dry and hot, there's going to be that higher risk potential of a bushfire actually happening. So what can I do to prepare for this summer to be it's going to be nasty, let's face facts, right? It's going to be a nasty summer in Australia. So what can we do to prepare for this garden? So I know that I'm going to need to put in a lot of shade during this summer for my garden in particular, and also I'm going to need to I prefer to grow vines to give that shade. And I have some vines growing at the moment, mainly beans and peas at this stage that are growing up at my block, but it's not going to hurt for me to add more stuff that's going to want to take the full sun, that's going to be able to take the full sun, especially in the arvo and during our summer. So planning is a necessity, especially when you want to design your garden. What's going to grow well in the full sun, what's not going to grow well in the full sun, what needs part shade, what needs full shade. If you don't know, believe it or not, Google is quite a good place to actually find out this kind of information, and we go from there. So the second thing that we really need to think about next is, what is our seeds going to grow in? So basically, I prepared my soil, the soil mixture that I've used in a previous video, and it's really going to be the same mixture. However, what I'm going to be using is a sieve, and just sieve out all the crap, all the big stuff that the seeds are not going to be able to push through and get growth. So even though it's the same mixture as I would usually put into my soil, it is going to be a little bit more finer once I sieve it through. Third thing you want to do is also find out the seeds that you want to plant. Sorry, it's a bit windy here. I'm just going to collect one of my stuff. So there are many seeds at this stage that can be grown, but I'm just going to go through some basics. Like I said before, I want things that are going to grow some shade for my plants. So tomatoes are great vine growing, and I love full sun as long as they get a lot of water. So I'm going to be growing some tomatoes. Now you can do one or two things. You can actually go out to the shop or find a tomato that you actually like, grab the seeds from the tomato and then grow it from there. Tomatoes are surprisingly very easy to grow. Otherwise you can just get packet tomato seeds, and I've got this one here from Bunnings when I picked up one of my little greenhouse. It came in a little packet with some tomatoes and some other stuff. So I actually don't mind these tomatoes. These tomatoes are very sweet when you grow them. And this is another thing about growing your own food, right? It becomes very sweet and oh, it's so great. And I can tell you right now that the bugs even love eating my tomatoes. I have let a tomato grow all through winter and it had fruited, and I came back from my swing to realize that half the tomato has been eaten. So it's not just us that likes the tomatoes. So you can buy your packet seeds, or you can literally just buy a tomato and grab the seeds from there, whichever tomato that you like. Don't forget, this garden is all about you, yeah? So you're going to want to put food in there that you want to eat. Don't buy food that you're not going to eat, because that pretty much is pointless, isn't it? And another thing I'm going to be growing today as well is nasturtium. I got this as well from Bunnings, and it's from Mr. Fothergill's company, and it's just a range of different colours. But nasturtium and tomatoes go well together, along with carrots. Now there is a book called Carrots Love Tomatoes, or yeah, so there is a book called Carrots Love Tomatoes. I actually was watching a YouTube video called The Gardening Show with James Prigioni. Granted, he's in America and he's in New Jersey, but he has some really good ideas, and he actually read a book called Carrots Love Tomatoes. It's all about companion planting. So what I've noticed is that tomatoes help out gooseberries. I've got a gooseberry plant at the moment that I don't want to die through the summer months, so I'm going to be planting a couple of plants there to provide shade. Some tomatoes. Tomato, nasturtium and carrots all love each other, and they will grow well together. So companion planting is very important. So these three will be planted together. I got this hollyhock as a lucky dip in a gardening fair. So this will go back to like, where can you get these seeds from? So obviously you can get your seeds from nurseries and stuff like that. You can get them online as well. You can even go to gardening shows and you pick them up. But I picked this up. So if you're in WA and you're south of the river, there's a place called the Amanda Garden in Southern River. She unfortunately passed from a meningococcal disease, and so her family opened up the garden about once a year, I think it is, and you can go in there, you have a look at this beautiful garden, and I've had some really good thoughts on how I would like to set my garden up as well. I did some research there. They've got a couple of ponds in this garden as well, and it's very tranquil, as you can say. But they also sell some of their seedlings as well, and they also had a lucky dip for seeds, and I ended up getting hollyhock. So I'll be planting hollyhock today as well. I didn't really know what it was until I picked it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I've actually got one growing from seed in my garden up my block, and it seems to be doing really well. So I'm going to plant some more of these because they provide good shade to the ground as well. So that's another way of picking up seeds, through garden shows, fates, and whatnot. So they do a foundation at the Manda Garden. So if you need or want to do a donation, or even just go down there, and they'll take gold coin donation to go and enter the garden to have a look at it. It's definitely worth it. I think it's lovely. I love going there every year. Don't know which one I'm going to pick up next year, but we'll try that. And obviously, unfortunately, there aren't a lot of grass trees on my block, and I like grass trees. They're very native to the Australian bushland. Unfortunately, I don't have many on my block. All I've seen so far is 2. But yeah, I wouldn't mind growing some more. So I'm going to try and grow these grass trees as seeds and see how we go with that. I didn't have much luck before. They did sprout, however, I think I took them out in the sun too soon and they got eaten by bugs, and that was the end of that. So note to self, lesson learned, keep them in the greenhouse as long as I can. And also I'm going to be sowing a valerian as well. Valerian, I got this from a garden show. There's a Perth gardening show that happens here, I think once a year. And I actually picked up a whole bunch of seeds. They were going really cheap, and I was just like, yeah, I just picked up all these seeds, and valerian's one of them. Now, on the bottom of these seeds, it actually tells you how to sow the seeds. So with comfrey, they tell you to refrigerate it for 4 to 6 weeks. Some of them will tell you that you will need hotter climates, and this one here has pretty much tells me that it's a great tree to plant in your garden, especially for cottage gardens, if you want a cottage garden, and it's great for birds and bees. So let's grow some of that. Not only that, valerian root is actually really good for a sedative. So if you're feeling anxious or you just need to relax, valerian root tea is phenomenal to help you just calm your nerves. And obviously have maybe some chamomile incense or infusing in the background as well. And also what I'm going to do is some more green manure. So if you see my previous video, I actually planted some of this green manure straight into the ground. I haven't been to the block since I planted it, so it'd be interesting to find out how they did. If not, that's okay, because I'm going to plant them in some little trays, and hopefully they'll grow, and then I can just transplant them straight into my garden and see how they go. Also, I'm going to try something different as well. I picked some lemon seeds from a lemon, obviously the fruit of a lemon. I'm going to see if they're going to actually grow. Basically, what I want to do, I want to have a lemon tree in my garden, but not only that, I actually really want, while they're growing, a nice aroma. And so when you plant these seeds and they start growing, the seedlings will give off a lovely aroma in your kitchen. So it leaves it smelling fresh and citrusy. And last is lilium. I love lilies. And a lilium is something that I've always loved, and it's very strong scenting. This is Fijian lilium. It is a bulb. So, as we all know, part of the forest layer, one of them is actually a root layer, which includes bulbs. So it wouldn't hurt to start bringing in some of these liliums especially. I don't mind tulips, so I may bring in tulips. I've got a peony growing at the moment in a pot, and it seems to be doing really well, surprisingly. So let's try this lilium and see how we go with that. Right, let's get started. Alright, so it's just started raining again, so I might not be able to stay out here too long if it gets too hard. But basically I have collected seeds along my journey, so of all different seeds that I've collected, either from fates or garden shows or Bunnings or wherever basically. I even picked these seeds I actually got from work from one of the enviros. They are doing a rehab to one of the mines, and I figured, can I pinch some seeds to see how they go? So most of these are a lot of native acacia wattle connor seeds, and I haven't yet done anything too much with these, but he did suggest and advise that I put them in hot water first to help germinate them before I start planting them. So before I start rehabbing my own native area, especially the areas that have been cleared for my building, I will probably potentially do that. So I've got like spinach. I'm a big fan of spinach, love it. Purple carrots, broccoli, you can grow anything you want really. I've got comfrey. Now this one here, like I was saying, it says here, for best germination results, refrigerate seeds for 4 to 6 weeks. So I've got actually a packet going in the fridge at the moment. Eggplants, you know, you can get yams, lettuce, horseradish. You can grow anything you really want. The one thing I do want to grow is Kakadu plum tree, and I don't think I'm not having a lot of luck, as I've got 2 seeds left. So if anybody can give me a hint on how to grow Kakadu plum from seeds, it'd be greatly appreciated. If not, I'll have to go back to Tucker Bush and see if I can get some more seeds. And then I've got more seeds from here. I mean, some of these seeds, like this seeds here, I actually got from Woolworths. They did this promotion a while ago of pretty much encouraging people to plant their own food with it, which I think is great. So I was like, it's supposed to be for children, but what can I say? I kept those little points to get it for myself. So I've got like flowers and herbs, and I've got some more tomatoes and some more vegetables and all those good stuff here. I've got cucumber, eggplant, I've got celery, I've got bergamot. I actually wanted to plant sooner than later. But it does say here it's preferred in hot weather, so I'm going to wait for it to warm up a little bit. As you can see, I'm getting rained on, and I don't think it's going to, even in a greenhouse, I don't think it's going to do so well. And so yeah, I've just got plenty of seeds that I've collected. Even these seeds I picked up from the museum. My friend wanted to go to the Perth Museum, so I said, oh well, yeah, I'll go with that, why not? And we went into the gift shop, and I found these. There, forget-me-nots and echinacea. And I was like, stop it, I love forget-me-nots. When I went to America for a brief moment, I got some forget-me-nots. I thought they were the most beautiful blue flowers ever. But again, it's too early for them to be sown, so they're going to have to wait. So there are all different ways that you can get your seeds. But the majority of mine are usually from wherever I go shopping. It's like clothes, isn't it? But it looks like I'm going to have to go in because the rain is getting harder. So while I'm here, I'm also just quickly show you a couple of greenhouses that I've got. This greenhouse that I got is literally from Bunnings, and it's like, I don't know, I can't remember how much it was, about 120 bucks or something like that. And it zips. You'll be able to go in. So it's a two-tier level, and I just got these trays from Bunnings itself, a plastic bag just in case I need that extra bit of humidity. Now I got these bank shears from my garden. Basically, bank shears are usually known to have like a cylindrical kind of flower, so it's very unusual to see a ball-like flower. And I thought, well, since they've been knocked down, I'll see if I can somehow get the seeds out of these pods and see if I can actually propagate them. So I've saved them for my block to see if I can actually grow them and then replace them back into my block, basically. So I've got a few here, trial and errors, and see how we go. But a few of them have opened up, so hopefully the seeds are actually growing in my property, but we'll see how we go with that one. And then, yeah, another tray here just to put some of the seedlings on, and a bigger tray as well. I picked up this tray from the swap meet for like $0, like I got it for free. And I suppose if you want to put like something big on the bottom there, you can as well. Clearly I put bricks there to stop the wind from blowing, but this is going to be the greenhouse that I'm going to be using along with this greenhouse. This comes in like a little bit of a kit form. If you need to vent it, you can vent it. You can lift it up. Now I think this is fabulous for those who live in apartments and small areas that they really want to grow. So this is one of the first ones I bought. Basically, I just wanted to start growing plants when I got back from London. So I did it in this first. So it comes in a kit form. It comes in with like little seedling pots, and the tomato and the cucumber that I showed you just now also came part as this kit for starting your permaculture dream. So other ways of getting seeds as well is through your own plants. So this came from my cassia plant. And cassia is really good for your stomach. Now I have to remember which one it is, whether it's good for relieving constipation or it's good for bunging you up. I have to literally get back to you on that one. But these pods are good to pick off the plant when it goes like a yellowy colour. So I waited until they did turn yellow, and I've got a whole pot full of pods here that potentially I can grow. So I'm going to give it a whirl later and see how they go in growing, and then potentially, hopefully, I can sell them and see what happens from them. But yeah, you can feel the seeds in there, hey? Like popping like those plastic pops. Anyway, getting back to seeding. So let's start by clearing some room. So to have good good potting mixture for your seeds, you'll need a good mixture, right? Now obviously these seeds are small, some of these seeds are small, so you don't want anything that's going to be too big and it's going to block it. So think about like a massive rock or a little bit of a twig, which is small to us, to a seed it can be like pushing up a boulder. It's too big. So you got to make sure the soil is correct for what you want. So that's why I have a sip. So I use the same, like I said, I use the same soil mixture as I have done in a previous video, and then I just sieve it out to make it finer for it, and then we get started on the plant. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my soil mixture, put it into the sieve. I'm going to stick this in my little container and just sieve it through, and then hopefully get rid of some of the big stuff. It's probably preferable to get another container that doesn't have holes in it, to be fair, and then get it into that stuff. And then what's left is all the big chunky bits. So with the big chunky bits, I can just put into another little pot, not to worry about that, and that leaves a pretty good decent size of soil there. So now I've got nice level of finer soil. So it's probably best to give it a bit of a water now and then plonk the seeds into them. So I've watered those seeds. So I pretty much just repeat the same process again and again. So now I'm going to plant the nasturtium. So as you can see, these are way big seeds. These are awesome. So again, I'm still going to plant 2 though. Like, it's not going to hurt to plant a little extra, because you can always trim them down.
later on, especially if they don't, whoops, oopsies, especially if they don't germinate. So it's not going to hurt to plant a couple at one time. All right. Let's throw some seeds on this one. Cool. Mysterium. Perfect. And then on this one here, I'm going to grow the green manure mix. I showed you this mix before when I was on my block. So if it didn't do too well planting it straight into the ground, then hopefully this will be a better option maybe. But let's just see. Again, let's make a little well to put the seeds in. Now these seeds are mixed, so like I said in the previous video, they're mixed with different different seeds. So you got fenugreek, which I have as fenugreek seeds as part of my morning tea routine. Like I literally drink the tea, so fenugreek's great. You got oats, subclover, woolly pod, fetch, French white millet, buckwheat, and broccoli wrapper. I hope I did say them correctly. However, either way, these guys are going to help put nutrients in some horrid soil. So I'm just going to throw a whole bunch in there and let's see what happens. I'm not going to be too dainty or too specific with these kind of seeds. They're mixed. I'm just going to throw them in there. What survives, survives. What doesn't survive, well then, it is what it is, isn't it? If I plant them together and they root together, then so be it. And okay, I'm going to keep these ones in this container as well. I do want these ones to grow, so these babies are going to stay in this container as well. And literally, once I've labelled them, I will literally put the lid on and they can stay out wherever you have them. They can be in your apartment, they can be in the house, they can be outside. It really doesn't matter where they are because they're going to be warm and protected. Right, so the next, what I'm going to do is grow some grass trees. Now, what I noticed from the previous batch I tried to grow before is that they don't like being in those little kind of punnets. So I'm going to put them in these separate punnets, and it'd be easy to transfer into my block as well. They're only teeny tiny, great for seeding. So where did I get these pots from? When I buy seedlings. So when I buy any plant whatsoever, I keep the pots, I clean them and keep them because they come in handy for when I need to do things like this. So because it's going to be grass trees, I'm really not too worried about getting it fine, because I know that these seeds are a little bit bigger, and whatnot. So I literally just fill them up with my soil, give them a bit of a water, and then I'll do the same thing as I did with the others. Make a little well and put the seeds in there. So I've got these little pots for my grass trees. So these babies here. As I was saying, they're not a bad size seed. So as you can see, they're quite a decent sized seed. Yeah. And even then, I would still put 2 in as well. I'll try and have these standing up though, so the apex of the seed is up. And if they don't have an apex, like these seeds are, they could be broken for all I know, I don't know. I just throw them both in and hope for the best. Done. And then I have some seeds left over just in case this don't work. And that's those seeds done. Perfect. I will actually put these in that little container that I had before because they do need warmth. These are bush-like plants, they need warmth. Right, so the next plant, or the next seeds I'm going to plant is the lemons. I've got 2 lemons here that I actually got from the fruit of a lemon that I'm actually going to stick in one of these little red plastic cups. Now, we don't like plastic, we don't like using plastic, right? But plastic is around, whether or not we like it or not, plastic is around. What we do know is that this can be reused. So great for parties, great for potting. Again, it's lemon. I'm just literally gonna like scoop up some soil. Water it in, and then plant the 2 seeds in there. All right, so I've just watered it. As you can see, it's dripping. So I'm just literally gonna put it into this bowl. Again, the apex is up. Oops. Oops. Slippery little suckers. All right, and put one in there. And put the second one in there as well. Again, probably not helping to get them wet, but hey ho. Put that in there. Now hopefully, that these babies will start growing. The next I'm going to plant is my lilium. So, can't say, ooh, I know what I'm doing, but I'm guessing clearly these babies here are going up. So, I'm literally going to fill this pot halfway of soil and then I'm going to plant the root on top and then fill it up with soil after, just like planting, replanting a plant. That does say here, to prepare a hole to the depth of 20 centimeters depth. I think that's a little bit less than, but that's okay. It's got, dig in some aged manure. It's got manure in my potting soil. Plant the bulbs with the roots downwards and cover with 5 centimeters of soil. So, best planted before shoots reach 5 centimeters. I think these shoots have reached 5 centimeters. All right, let's give them a whirl. So I like to try and grab as much of what it's actually coming to. So much of that peated moss, I believe it is. See these roots here? Let's try and get those roots down, shall we? Ooh. Let's get them down. Let's get these shoots up. So there's the 2 bulbs. So let's try and get these shoots to go downwards a little bit, and let's just try and neaten them up. Massage them down a little bit. Let's just cover it. bulbs are interesting. They like to be covered, so even though there's like a little shoot there, I'll just leave that little shoot coming up, and then let's put some more soil around there. Where's that little shoot there? There we go. Shaky, shaky, shaky. And there it is. That's that little root there. Right. So with these kind of like bulbs, as long as you plant them the correct way up, they will grow. Now, in saying that, I have actually planted a lilium many years ago, and I actually had planted them the wrong way down. The wrong way, so they were actually going down. So I didn't have a lot of luck with that bulb. I don't know why. But yeah, so I'll water that in. I'm actually going to leave this out there with the other bulbs, because it is that time to actually plant bulbs. It's not gonna do any harm for them to be out in the climate at this stage. So I'm just going to water them in next to my peony. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.